welcome to the deep dive. Some love stories, they just hit you like fireworks, right? All explosive and immediate. But then there are others that feel more like, well, drowning. Quiet, beautiful, and just utterly consuming. Today, we're kind of plunging into one of those, Ali Hazelwood's latest book, Deep End. And trust me, it's definitely the latter.
It really is. And what's so striking, I think, is just how much Deep End is a significant departure from what we usually expect from Ali Hazelwood. I mean, for years, she's built this huge reputation on these really vibrant, STEM-filled romances. You know, the one famous for quirky heroines, clever banter, that perfect mix of, like, science and swoon.
Yeah, the classic Hazelwood formula.
Exactly.
Right.
But this book, it's completely stripped down. You won't find the usual tropes here. No witty science puns, no meet cutes in a university lab. Instead, it just dives straight into vulnerability, profound grief, and that almost terrifying intimacy of being truly deeply seen by someone.
Wow, that sounds intense.
It is, and we've definitely seen it making huge waves online, like on TikTok. People are celebrating it, but not for the steam like her other books. They're talking about its soul. So our mission today really is to unpack this pretty radical shift in her writing and maybe figure out why this new, much rawer approach is, resonating so deeply with readers.
Okay, so if it's such a departure, where do we see that first? I guess it's right there in the characters, isn't it? Usually with Hazelwood, you kind of expect a protagonist who's maybe a little clumsy or super brilliant, maybe a bit awkward but charming.
Right, the adorable scientist type.
Yeah, but Deep End's heroine, she's just fundamentally different. She's not trying to perform strength for anyone. She's really just trying to survive. Think of her as someone just existing quietly. In the aftermath of something shattering, her trauma isn't this big dramatic reveal. It's more like it's whispered,
Yeah.
In the silences, the things she avoids saying, the way she looks away, it's palpable. What's your take on that character evolution?
Well, it's fascinating because that quieter, more introspective heroine, it totally shifts the emotional stakes, I think. And it makes you think about the love interest, too, because he's also really unique in this story. He's not a rescuer. That's often the default in romance, right? The fixer.
The knight in shining armor.
Exactly. But he's not that. He's more of a witness. He doesn't swoop in to fix her problems or make grand gestures to pull her out of her, her mess. He chooses, very deliberately, just to sit with her in it, quietly. And if you think about what people actually crave in relationships, that dynamic feels honestly more radical and maybe more deeply loving than any knight could be.
That's a powerful idea. Just sitting with someone.
It really is. It speaks to that universal, very authentic desire for connection, for someone to really see you, broken parts and all, and just accept them. No judgment.
And it's not just the characters feeling different, right? The whole atmosphere, the core themes of Deep End seem just as profound. This book gets into that deep fear of being loved before you feel healed, that raw vulnerability of letting someone see your unvarnished pain.
Absolutely. And it's also so much about memory, how it can distort things, how it clings to you, follows you around long after something's happened, how it shapes your present.
Yeah, and the journey of letting yourself feel again after you've just gone numb.
Yeah.
That really stood out to me. The pacing is deliberately slow, yes, but it doesn't drag. It's more like water, like you said earlier, steadily surrounding you, pulling you deeper until suddenly you're submerged in it and you didn't even realize it was happening.
Yeah.
This isn't a romance that flirts. It's sort of lingers, settles in your bones.
Well put. And that intentional slowness, that lingering quality, it contributes directly to the powerful personal impact this book seems to have. Look, this is definitely not a breezy beach read. You have to be present for it. In fact, a lot of readers describe it as feeling quite heavy.
Yeah, heavy, okay.
But it's not a bad heavy, It's depth. I saw someone on TikTok describe it as gut-wrenching in the best way. Estra. Another said it's the kind of heavy that leaves you feeling lighter afterwards. So for readers looking for something truly honest, something that kind of aches in a good way, maybe something that resonates with their own stuff, grief or vulnerability, it connects on a much, much deeper level than just entertainment. It feels like a real emotional excavation. And I think that's its unique value.
So it sounds like this deep dive really shows Deep End challenging a lot of expectations, moving way beyond the typical romance tropes, exploring these really complex, deeper emotional landscapes.
It absolutely does, yeah. The unique value here isn't just that it's a compelling story. It's that it's a story that seems to profoundly connect with people, not just in their heads, but like right in their hearts.
It certainly makes you think. So after all this discussion, let me leave you, our listener, with this question.